This is The Recap, a weekly reflection on the sermons of Fellowship Baptist Church in Mainville, Ohio, seeking to help you make Jesus essential in every aspect of your life. I'm your host, Ryan Land, and I'm here with the preacher of this week's sermon, Brent Wilson. Welcome, Brent.
Hello, Ryan.
Now, here's something crazy. Brent is drinking a cup of coffee on this episode of The Recap. You probably just heard him slurp it. And that's crazy because Brent doesn't drink coffee.
Not typically.
So
I have to put a lot of sugar in it.
That's wild.
A lot of cream.
He said when he came down here, he was like, we both have coffee and the colors are very different because mine is black. Mine is black as midnight.
And mine is light brown.
Brown.
Very
tan,
light brown.
Almost. Tan. Some might say tan.
Yeah.
So, all right, Brent, we're back. I was gone a week. I was not gone. I was sitting
you were here.
Right there behind
off the shelf.
Yeah. But I was in the producer chair where our dearly departed Josh usually was.
Departed.
Like he's dead. He's not.
Yeah.
He's just in Kansas City, which is pretty close to being dead. I don't know. Football wise, I guess, when you're 5-4. I can't talk. The Cowboys are terrible. Like they're
yeah. See, it's all about perspective because when you're a Panthers fan and you're 5-4, it's a great day.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys are 3-4-1.
Oh yeah.
So that's not really fun. Plus their bye week this week, so you can't lose.
Oh yeah.
So pretty lame. Wait, no. I think it's worse than that. That's only 8 games. There have been 9. I think they're 3-5-1.
Oof. Yeah.
That'd be 9 games, right?
Panthers are 5-3.
But they've already had
No, they haven't had a bye.
Oh.
But maybe they're 5-4.
They're 5-4.
5-4. No.
See, I called them the Patriots. The Chiefs are also 5-4.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about this week David and Bathsheba.
Yep.
And I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a VeggieTales retelling of this story.
Not. Really?
There is. David and the rubber ducky. And he is coveting his neighbor's rubber duck.
Hilarious.
I don't know. There's obviously some other things that happen in the story. I don't really know how they cover all that in the VeggieTale. But I want to know what do you think is one of the most gruesome Bible stories or inappropriate Bible stories that we try to scale down for kids or dumb down for kids? When it's you step back for a moment and you're really thinking about it, you're like, maybe this is we wait until they're a little older story to
tell
teach
the
them.
story. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, gosh, certainly this one is probably the number 1 on the list. So let me go number 2 or so. You've got, you get something like the woman caught in adultery. That's right. So that's, it could be graphic.
Oh yeah. That was so I taught VBS this year.
And that was one of them?
That was one of them. And so I had to be explain to preschoolers what it means when Jesus you have 500, you have 5 husbands.
Yeah.
And the one you're with now is not your husband.
Certainly the whole book of Song of Solomon.
See, I don't feel like we usually teach that one to kids,
Yeah. Another one of Jesus's relatives, Tamar.
Oh yeah.
Pretending to be a prostitute so she can get herself impregnated by her brother-in-law, Judah.
Her father-in-law, right?
Father-in-law? Yeah, maybe father-in-law.
Yeah.
Father-in-law. So that's wild.
The one I always think of is the flood. It's we make it all cutesy. It's
that's true.
Look, you got the animals.
Yeah.
They're all getting on board. Then it's and everyone on earth is dead.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty we skip that part.
Sodom and Gomorrah's got both the sexual thing and the destruction thing.
Yeah. It's but so it is just funny sometimes. I think we get these Sunday school ideas of stories in our heads. And then when we are actually you're oh, that's a little more intense or graphic than I
Another
remember.
one would be when Abraham goes to Egypt and he lies and tells the king that his
passes off
his wife is his sister or whatever.
Yeah.
It's you go
certainly the first 3 books of the Bible, 4 or maybe just the whole Pentateuch is full of stories that we tell them to kids and then we're definitely going to screw some details here.
Yeah, for sure.
But then it's funny, we do that and then we just never revisit them. And so as we're adults, we're
wait a minute.
What was that story about those 3, in VeggieTales? it's like the chocolate, about the chocolate bunny. It's like,
I didn't watch VeggieTales growing up.
That's so funny. So like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Rack, Shack, and Benny, they work at like a chocolate bunny factory.
Okay.
And it's all about the bunny. It's like the statue is like the bunny. And so it's like, what was that story from VeggieTales? It's like all about the bunny. And then you're like, oh, it was like a gold statue. So it's just funny how we try to do that. Sure. But certainly a great story for us as people who are prone to sin. I don't know how to say it any clearer than that. This is a little bit like a warning story, I feel like.
Sure. Yeah.
Like there's like a name for that. It's not like a fable, but it's like you see like it's almost like the what not to do, and so I loved that my theater degree was like jumping off the wall when you were like, I'm going to break this into acts.
Oh yeah.
And so I want to break this into, go through the 3 acts that you kind of talked about, hit some points. But really one of the first things I just want to talk about this is like, there's a lot of like preconceived notion about this. It's a familiar story, I think. But I think our familiarity with it can actually sometimes cause us to underappreciate it and maybe even misinterpret it. So what are some ways or what are some things that you think or that you thought going into preaching it, or like, I really want to address this or I really want to address that, either about David's sin or about Bathsheba, it's like that we don't usually that we just assume or we don't usually pick up on or we don't usually focus on because we think we know the story?
Yeah, certainly the abuse aspect or the rape aspect of Bathsheba. I think for whatever reason, there seems to be this like, I feel like people feel like they need to defend David. It's because he's this kind of hero for a while. And he does something. I mean, the whole kind of one of the big picture points of the whole text is like, he really screwed things up here. He's not actually the hero we've been looking for. It's kind of the big point. And so I don't know why there is this temptation in us or this desire in us to be like, well, yeah, like he did it, but it wasn't rape. It wasn't abuse. It wasn't this kind of thing. It was like more like a love affair. I don't know why there's that temptation, but certainly people really do not like it when you accuse David of doing that, which he very clearly is. Now, one of the things that's interesting, you're going to preach a text where David's son is going to rape his sister or half-sister.
His half-sister, yeah.
And the word that's used there is the Hebrew word rape. Now, that word is not used in the David Bathsheba. So like they have a word, they choose not to use the word. And I think it's because the one that you're about to preach on is like a little more violent, whereas this one is just more a power dynamic. So they can both be rape, just of a different sort.
Yeah.
You have 2 women who can't say no, one being forced through power, one being forced through strength.
Yeah.
And so I think that is an aspect I think that it particularly needs to be pointed out. Because you've got people who have been abused and been raped and have even been spiritually abused, have the Bible held over them as a form of abuse. And so like just to show, that the chapter ends with that line that says something to the effect of like, and this displeased the Lord. Yeah. And it's like, that God hates this. He's angry about this. So I think that's an important point. So I wanted to bring that out. And really just, I think a lot of times growing up, the way I hear the story, it really stays on the rooftop, right? And there's a lot of conversation, which is good, but about, the nature of temptation. Like it starts with the look. It was the first look. And then, the first look's not bad. It's the second look and that kind of thing. And for young boys, a lot of times the conversations around that, which is good and fine or whatever. But to show how what begins with the look keeps you longer, takes you further, costs you more.
The spiral.
Yeah, and it's just like how it keeps going. And there's all of this fallout, and the sin breeds other sins. It leads to lying and covering up and murder. And one of the things, honestly, I didn't realize until kind of preparing for this. You always think about Uriah being killed. You don't think about the other random dudes that were just there who happened to get caught up in this mess and get killed too.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't have died. And so just how sin breeds more sin and those sorts of things. So.
Yeah. I think those are both really good. I also think one thing I appreciate about your sermon in what is not usually covered is leading up to the look on the rooftop. Mm-hmm. I think this is really neglected sometimes. Like the text seems to be pretty explicitly saying that David is not where he's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And so is that laziness? Is it cowardice? Is it, whatever that's keeping him at the palace while everyone else is at war? Mm-hmm. But he's not like, it's I can't remember the exact wording, but it's like in the time that kings go to war.
Yeah.
Here's what David was doing.
David's
it's not that, and so it's like, it seems a pretty explicit like comparison that the author is making. And so I think that's really helpful because a lot of times, you just said it's like we're on the rooftop. It's like that's when the temptation is happening. Mm-hmm. And one of your later points is it's easier to flee temptation than it is to resist it, right? It's easier to not be in the situation than it is to say no. And so starting, the very beginning of the story to be like, how do we even avoid being in the situation where we're on the rooftop? I think that's really important.
Yeah. And that is I think I told you earlier that I wish I had 2 weeks to do this because I feel like you could really just talk about temptation and a lot and sin a lot. But I do think the idea of not putting yourself in situations is something that our culture doesn't like, right? Like I remember when Vice President Pence talked about how he followed the Billy Graham rule.
Yeah.
And people were just ripping him up and down for that. And which, if you don't know, the Billy Graham rule is that he's never alone with another woman, right? Which is something I was taught in seminary and was beat into me and all these things. And our culture wants to say, no, men and women can have friendships and you can be both married and you can be best friends with the opposite sex and go to lunch dates and do whatever.
Yeah. And have a work husband or a work wife.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Oh, yeah. And every time I've seen that, it's been super weird for me just to like watch people like kind of try to do that. And sometimes, they've done it and nothing's gone wrong. But just seems like you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
And so that would just always beat into me of don't do that. Like I even had a professor one time say, he was a pastor and it's like, if he's driving down the road and saw a church member of his, broke down on the side of the road and this woman, he'd pull over, try to help her, couldn't get his car. Like, hey, you can take I'm not going to drive you somewhere, but I'll stay here with your car and I'll get somebody to come pick me up. You can take my car and go on. But we're not going to be seen in the car together.
Yeah.
Just the optics of it and the temptation of it. And so I do think just putting yourself in a bad position, compromising position, is something we take for granted and think, oh, no, I'm strong enough.
Yeah.
Or we should be able to do that.
Yeah.
That should be fine. And I just think, bless you.
I'm allergic.
I just think
to your wisdom.
I just think we think we're stronger than we are. And that's, and so that leads to people saying, well, we can move in together.
Yeah.
And not have sex. We're strong enough to do that. Or we can hang out till 2 a.m. at each other's house. That's no problem. Or, we can go to that frat house party and be like,
just have one drink.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe a few more. I saw a pastor recently. I don't even know who it was. It was just like on social media. And he was talking about, can you imagine if in your marriage, every time your wife asked you to do something, you asked her if this was a divorce issue? It's like, hey, could you unload and load the dishwasher? And be like, yeah, I'd like to, but is this a divorce issue? Like, if I don't do it, are you going to divorce me? Mm-hmm. And if she says no, being like, okay, then I'm not going to do it. It's like, or hey, we've got this meet or this like dinner. We're going out with some friends, and you're like, I don't really want to go. I'd rather stay home and play video games, watch a movie or whatever. If I don't go, is this like a divorce issue, or or not? And if she says, no, it's not divorce, I'm not going to divorce you. Or I'd be like, all right, then I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay home. And it's like so often, his point was so often we treat God like that, where it's like, is this like actually a sin? It's not like living together. It's not like actual, there's no Bible verse that says don't live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I think I can go ahead.
No, that's helpful.
And there's like, so David being like, just watching this woman bit. It's like, I don't know that there's anything in the Abrahamic law that says I can't watch. It's like,
yeah,
it's not a sin issue. God, you're not going to cut me off from yourself for doing this. So no big deal. And so we treat our decisions regarding sin like that instead of I'm going to put myself in the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
where I'm not going to be tempted. One of the things you talked about that I think is so helpful in you're talking about Jesus saying cut off your hand. And I remember one of the things we had like a parent night where some different people talked about technology. And a guy in our church talked about how technology is a window for you to see out of the world, but also for people to see in. And I thought about David on the rooftop, like he has this window out over the world and can see things he's not supposed to see.
Yeah.
Right. He shouldn't be looking at. And our phones are the exact same way. Right. It's like when we take them into our rooms, when we take them into the bathroom, when we take them into, the basement or whatever, it's like we're like David walking on the roof. It's like we may not be looking at anything, but it's like if we just turned our head a little bit, you could see it. And so you're just putting yourself in a situation where you're past the path of most resistance instead of the path of least resistance.
Yeah. I think this is the case. I believe it's the case that sexual sin is the only sin the Bible tells us to flee from. It may not, like maybe like flee worldly pleasure, things like that. But certainly when it talks about sexual sin, a lot of times it says to flee it. And you get the picture or the story of Joseph, Potiphar's wife, right? I think it's like she grabs his shirt and he just
his cloak. That's exactly. He doesn't even go back for it. He just runs out.
He comes out of it.
Which honestly probably didn't help his story in court.
Right. She's got the evidence.
There's a reason he's in prison the next chapter.
Yeah. But he's like just gone, right? And so I think it was J.D. Greer who I read this week and who said that. It's like that it's easier to avoid than to resist. Because once you're in it, man, I thought that quote from Bonhoeffer was so good because it's just the fire and the feelings and the hormones and everything is raging. And it's like, you've got to intellectually come to a moment of passion and tell you like, that's really hard. And most of us fail that. And so you gotta be in a place where you're not going to be feeling those things.
Yeah, for sure. I want to go back a little bit. So talk about we're kind of dancing in the realm of temptation. I want to talk about this. Temptation comes when we're not busy with the mission of God. Talk about that a little bit. Particularly, you talked about Matt Chandler's quote. It's like you should go to bed exhausted. Yeah, from the way you've served.
Yeah, like you are I think about Ephesians 2, like God has created you for the purpose of good works, right? So he has gifted you, he has wired you, he has made you to be busy advancing his kingdom. Now in the Old Testament for David, that was war. That was pushing back the enemies of God.
Physical war.
Yeah, the enemies of God and taking the land that was promised him. That's what God told him to do. And David is charged with that. Saul he didn't do it. Now David is, and now David's not, he's sitting on the couch not doing it. Now for us, it's different, right? For us, it's the Great Commission. It's advancing the church, right? It's helping the least of these. It's all these kinds of things. The cultural mandate in Genesis 2. And so we've got to be busy walking as fully formed Christians in the world, reaching people, discipling people, helping people, all kinds of ways we can do that. And when we're not doing that, well, we got to take all this energy, this time, we're going to do something. Yeah. And it's like, what typically, it's like, what happens when you get a bunch of kids at a sleepover and they got nothing to do?
Yeah, they're going to figure out something not helpful.
Yeah, like what can we get into, right? And so like the same is true for adults. Like we're about like I'm looking for a thrill. I'm looking to feel something. I'm looking for fun. I'm looking for a dopamine hit, right? And we can get that in all kinds of ways. So, some of those ways are okay, maybe not the best, but not maybe sinful or whatever. But then sometimes those things wear off, and it spirals off into something. And so I love it when Matt Chandler says that. It's like, hey, if you are laboring and you go to work and you're working all day and you come home and you're serving your wife, you're serving your kids, you're working around the house, maybe you go and you serve at the soup kitchen, or you go help your church do something, or you're going to your small group, or whatever. Well, then it's like nighttime and you got to get up and do it again the next day, and it's like, I'm too tired to think about doing anything bad. I'm going to bed. And so I just think that's helpful.
I think one thing that I was struck, I'm reading all these parenting books, articles, prepping for parenting, and you say like go to bed exhausted, and I think particularly as a man, what you immediately think of is like, I got to be like doing yard work, or I got to be like doing manual labor, you're gonna be building something or whatever, which it can be that. But I also thought about like when I serve in kids ministry, and it's like you've got a kid that wants to just like play the same game like over and over and over again, and it's just like doing that with your kids is exhausting, right? Yeah. I'm sure. Like there are probably so many dads that are like, I'd much rather go mow the lawn than
mowing the lawn's a break,
than play this game like over and over and over again with my kid. And think maybe that's the thing that is exhausting you, right? And I think because we're not prone to like be diligent in prayer, we're not prone to be like diligent in studying our Bible. It's like it actually may tire you out to spend 30 minutes in prayer for your kids, for your wife, for your church, right? Like you may finish that and be like, I'm tired because we're just not like prone to doing that. And so I think we try to think of these like, oh, I got to be like Mr. Fix It or whatever around my house. Just like, no, just be the spiritual leader, and even like little things. Oh yeah, right. And you'll go to bed exhausted. But when you go home, drop your bag off, get on your phone, and check all the latest sports scores or whatever. It's like that's not exhausting. Yeah. But going home, playing with your kids, serving your wife, all of those things. That's it. May not be, you're not sweating.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be physical labor. Absolutely. Yeah. And it makes me think about like, certainly that's helpful in avoiding sexual sin. But it's also helpful in avoiding all other kinds of sin and problems. I think about a lot of times when I see people who are like in interpersonal conflict, usually over something dumb, and they're just like making it a big deal, and just posting and just can't let it go. It's like, you got too much time on your hands. It's like, man, I do not have time to be like fighting over whatever dumb issue. Yeah. Like it's just a good time. Well,
even just like, so practically like covetousness, like it's so much easier to be content when you're at home, like spending time with your family or your loved ones or your friends, right? It's so much easier to be content in that moment than it is scrolling on your phone and looking at all the other
looking out that window. Yeah. To other people's houses.
All the other people's lives, all the other people's fun vacations and sporting events they go to and whatever they're doing with look how perfect their kids look, or I wish, my spouse looked like their spouse or whatever. It's like so hard to be content just looking out at everyone else's stuff. Yeah. It's like, no, look inside your own four walls. That's where contentment kind of starts. Yeah. And so even that envy and that jealousy melts away as you're exhausting yourself for the mission of God. Yeah. The other thing is, we kind of talked about. Anything else to say about the compromising situations?
I don't think so. Like, just don't do them, I guess.
Yeah. And figure out, it's like, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, so figure out what it is where are you potentially It's like, one, if you're trapped in a cycle of sin, like where physically, where are those sins happening?
Yeah, that's
emotionally, when are those sins happening? You know, what time of day, whatever.
So you might need to like schedule some things during a time of day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not place, it's the thing, right? So like if it's your phone, like time to get a flip phone. The phone is the place that the thing happens. And so, like you've got to be serious about cutting your hand off, right? You got to be serious about structuring and ordering and removing things from your life too.
Yeah.
Avoid
it's like
those things.
You were quick to say this, and we're always quick to say this when Jesus is like, you know, if your right hand causes you to stumble or your right eye, it's like that's a metaphor. Don't go do it. Like we're quick to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like, but think about the severity Jesus is pointing out here. It's like if he thinks it's worth it to cut your hand off, don't you think it's worth it for you to not have a touch screen or like a blue light on your phone? You know, or it's probably better for you anyway just to have a flip phone or
it's going to
phone.
be painful, but better.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about, and we've done a little bit of this, like the idea that it's easier to avoid. That's the word you used in the sermon. Easier to avoid than to resist. Why is that? Why is it easier to avoid than to resist?
Well, particularly in sexual temptation, one, it is promising to fulfill you. It is screaming in your heart this. I mean, it's intoxicating. I think that's the right word. It is. I mean, you got hormones at play.
Yeah.
Like the promise of how good it's going to be, the imagination of how good it's going to be, and the secret nature of it. I had a friend one time tell me that pornography was the most difficult drug in the world because you have instant access, it's free, it seemingly has no like negative consequences, and no one will know about it, and you're supposed to say no to it. How? Right. And so it's like when it feels so easy and so cheap and so quick and instantaneous, and it doesn't feel like it's hurt. It's not hurting anybody. It doesn't feel like it is.
Well, and I think often what people say is like, and even if it is hurting anybody, it's just me. And I'm willing to take the hit or whatever. You know, it's like if it's hurting anybody, it's just hurting me, and I'm responsible for myself. So I've heard that before.
And so it's just like really hard. I mean, you know, this is not a modern problem, right? Like David's always struggling with this, but it's like throughout the Bible and throughout history. And I think it's because we are designed by God to have sex. You know, I think that was one of the downfalls of the True Love Waits kind of movement. Had good intentions, but it made us talk about sex in a way that was, this is bad. This is bad. Don't do this. This is bad. Stay away from this. This will destroy your life. Well, then, particularly in women, this happened, but probably for both sexes, they get married, and then it's like, wait.
Am I allowed to do this?
Yeah, I thought this was bad. And you've got, you know, I've heard so many stories of women feeling guilty about having sex with their husbands because this thing has been drilled, this idea has been drilled into their head. And so, but the reality is we were designed by God for this. It is good, it is glorious, it is worshipful. Like this is a godly thing, but it's been perverted and distorted by sin. And so now we want it wrongly. We mess it up in all kinds of ways. And so I think the original question, why is it so hard to resist this? Well, it's because at its core, it's good.
Yeah.
At its core, you were designed for it. It's good to desire it. But we want the shortcut.
Yeah. Well, I think it was interesting to me early. You used the word intoxicating, and it feels, you know, pornography is an addiction, but it's like any sin, you know, you think about is always like promising you relief, comfort, something like that. So I think about like someone who's addicted to alcohol, being drunk. What they're saying is your real life is hard, is bad, but you can numb it, you can dull it, you can be comforted, you can be, you know, blissful, joyful, if you just, you know, get drunk. And that's pretty much like the baseline sell for any sin. The life that without this sin is bad. When you do this sin, life's good. Life's better.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important point. And I've actually seen some stuff recently, and I don't fully understand all of this, but on a psychological level, I guess, like pornography is a release, right? And so it's a stress release. It's an anxiety release. I've even read somehow it's an ADHD response to stress, to chaos in your life, whatever. It's just like, this is a way for me, just like alcohol is a
it's a coping mechanism.
That's the word, right? It's a coping mechanism. It's a way for me to deal with these other things I'm feeling. And so like we got all this other stuff going on in our life. This is an oasis for us.
Yeah. So I think about that. Those little stickers or like shirts, and they just say like life is good, and it's always like a little stick man. He's like got a surfboard, or he's like drinking a pina colada or whatever. It's like I think about those, but just like sin. It's like life is good. It's like that's what if you just commit this sin, like your life will be great.
Yeah.
And like that is just like what they promise, and then they never deliver, which kind of takes us to the next point, which Act 2.
Yeah.
The sin.
Well, let me say this real quick.
Okay.
But, just like, okay, why is it so hard to give up? Well, it goes back to, when people try to say the stupid thing of like, sin's bad. Sin's not good or whatever. It's like
the clip I pulled of Brent saying sin is fun.
Like it is like it is satisfying for a moment.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and when it's also like
go ahead.
I was saying it's like the law of diminishing returns. It's like once you've had a little taste, it's like, oh, the next taste will be even more, but it's not. And so like you got to get more and more and more to get that original high.
My only pushback on that is we only think it's fun or good.
It's not good,
but we only think it's fun or even satisfying.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because what I don't want to, because the hard way out of sin is white knuckle saying this thing's fun. It's even satisfying in the moment, and I'm just going to white knuckle reject it. But actually, I think what the Bible teaches us is like that's actually all bad. It's actually not good. It's not fun. It's destructive.
Yeah.
And the good thing is to take up your cross. Right. Yeah. And so even in the moment or even to the world, it might not look fun or sound fun or satisfying or enjoyable. It's actually the best way forward.
And even I agree with you. And I would even say, so however we pervert the sin, right? Whether it's alcohol, sex, so it's like sex is good in this context.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Food is good.
Yeah.
In particular context, right?
And so it's like when we've perverted it, it's destructive, but it actually is satisfying in the way that it was meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Under the authority of Christ. And so, I agree with you 100%. It just feels fun in the moment is what I mean. It's a dopamine hit. Like it's intoxicating.
Science actually tells you that those dopamine hits, like you were talking about law of diminishing returns, is also what keeps you addicted.
Right.
And so it's like actually, even when you zoom out, the thing that seems fun is actually slowly destroying your brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I just what I never want to teach people is just like moral behaviorism, right? It's like, so just stop it. It's like this. Here's this fun thing. Just stop doing it. God hates for you to have fun. It's like no, God actually wants you to have fun in the right way.
Yeah, you got to see the more wondrous thing, right? It's the mud pie. It's the mud pie.
I love that word you just used.
Wondrous.
Yeah. We don't want the most fun thing. We want the most wondrous thing.
Yeah.
Tell the mud pie thing. I don't know that everyone knows that.
Oh man. If they've been going to our church for a while, they should know it. But
the man himself.
The man, the myth, the legend. So, he even uses like, it's like sex and drink or whatever is like a kid, playing in the mud pies in the slums. But God has offered a vacation at the sea. And we're content to be down here playing in the mud with our, sexual perversion and whatever. It's like, no. I've got the real thing over here, the wondrous thing, the true thing. And you're taking a cheap knockoff. Yeah. And if you think that's fun, wait till you get a hold of this.
Yeah. I think that's so helpful. So then Act 2, the sin, you say sin always begins with deception. So I think we've been referencing that spell that out like a little more clearly for us. What is the deception that leads to sin?
Well, yeah, it depends on the sin, right? There's always lies whispered, right? Like this will satisfy, this will be enough, this no one will know. One of the deceptions I think David is facing is this dehumanizing reality of her.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that.
And she ceases to be a person. She's not someone's daughter or wife or even potentially mother. She's just an object. Right?
J.D. Greer says she's a can of Coke.
She's a can of Coke.
And once the Coke's gone, you throw away the can.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. And so like all of those deceptions, like we tell ourselves, it's just a look. Mm-hmm. That didn't hurt anybody. And it'll feel so good and she won't mind. And it's just one time and it's not, all those things are deceiving you into thinking it's okay or I can get by. It's just whatever. They're all deception.
Yeah. And so talk about like all the things that we minimize or we lie to ourselves about. You talk about the humanity of others, right? Like what are those things, the lies we tell ourselves to permit our sins a lot of the times? Yeah.
I think the dehumanizing is the one I pointed out, right? Like which led to the Nazis and the Jews, led to slavery. It's like sex trade today, pornography today. And so the dehuman, like they're not really people. So I think that's one.
But I also want to say the dehumanization of yourself as the viewer. Like,
sure.
Because here's the pushback. People will say it's like, well, what if it's all AI generated?
Oh yeah.
And say I'm not really hurting anyone. It's all AI generated. It's like, no, it's actually hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're experiencing this in an unembodied, unintended way. And so it's like not only are you dehumanizing the people on the screen, you're dehumanizing yourself. It's like Lewis when he talks about you're either going to be at the most glorious.
You're becoming something so beautiful and glorious that you'd be tempted to worship, or something so terrifying you'd run in fear.
Yeah, and it's like you're chipping away. You're becoming this terrifying thing, dehumanizing yourself.
Yeah, and also I think it is when you're looking at the AI situation, like it's this idea that that it's still a perversion, and you're treating yourself almost like a robot. That's like, well, it's just an input.
Yeah,
right. It's just a thing that I'm enjoying. And I'm going to input this pleasure and whatever. So, well, no, you're more than a robot who can just input a pleasure. It's actually forming, like you're talking about. It's forming you and shaping you, and it's forming you and shaping you into something that's perverted. And when I say perverted, I don't just mean like the way we use the word like
sexually.
I mean, it's distorting you.
Yeah. What about sins that seemingly, are only involving yourself? Like drunkenness, gluttony, envy, right? What are the lies we tell ourselves to make those sins like more palatable or like permissible in our lives?
Yeah. I think the difference with some of those is that they're hidden, right? Like you don't wake up beside someone who's not your wife and go, "You're not my wife," right? Like what you're doing. But gluttony and envy, pride, they're hidden, and there's certainly some under the table justification and rationalizing and whatever going on or ignoring. But I really think it's like no one can see it. It's like because you can be. Gluttony isn't just food, but let's just say it's food. It's like you can be skinny and be gluttonous. And so, it's like, well, it's just Thanksgiving. It's just Christmas. It's
just the weekend.
It's just the weekend. It's everyone eats like this.
Yeah.
I think that's a big justification for all kinds of things. Well, everybody does it.
Yeah. Well, I think the deception started when you start the sentence, it's just. Right. It's like we just minimize sin as a concept itself.
Yeah.
That's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we have the gradient of sin in our head, and it's like everyone has their own. Right. And on the far left, you've got sins that are pretty okay. And then on the far right, you've got sins that are really bad. Watching pornography, having sexual sins usually are on that like far side. Yeah. And so it's like convincing ourselves. It's like, if I just live over here in like the not so bad area, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, oh, it's just my prideful. It's just, or my lack of contentment, my envy. Right. And we don't see them as a big deal.
No, I definitely agree. And I think that like, gosh, I think about like anxiety, which is a big thing today. And it's like, like, is that a sin or not? Like, I think it's super complicated, but it's just like, you're not trusting the Lord and things in your life, which is the byproduct is anxiety. And you're like, well, everybody's got anxiety now. Everybody's on anti-anxiety medicine. Everybody struggling with this. And it's like, just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean that's good.
Yeah.
And so I think some of these things can be really hidden and we just don't pay attention to them and don't even think about them because they're not in front of our face. Maybe we're worried about the big things and we miss these.
Yeah. So sin always starts with deception. And you say it always leads to destruction. So this particularly, Bretta was reading the text and I was just like, this is bad. Like, this is bad. And it just gets worse. Like the whole story just gets worse. Like David brings Uriah home to like try to just cover up the pregnancy. You're like, that's awful. Like that's a terrible thing to do. Just to like lie to this kid the whole lie. Like even if that had worked, plan A had worked, would have been awful and destructive.
And it could have had other ramifications later.
And then it doesn't work. So he's like, dang, let me get this dude drunk.
Yeah.
Another
sin.
Bad. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because also like for David to be, I'm just imagining the scene right there at dinner and David's like, yeah, have another one. And this guy, maybe like good, is like, nah, I shouldn't. And you got the king here, be like, I've got the best one. Come on, what's one more drink? It's like, who's to say no to the king? And it's like that doesn't work. And so then David's like, I don't know, kill him, I guess. It's just like, how do you get there?
Yeah.
How do you go from man after God's own heart, like God, you're having a conversation with God on the step of the palace, talking about the future of the temple, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like you're dancing naked in the street because you're so glad that God's presence has returned. And then like 2 chapters later, you're like, you're this.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Why does that happen?
The way I usually talk about it in people's lives is baby steps, right? You're here and then you found yourself at this other place and you're like, how did I get here? Well, it wasn't because you jumped from A to Z. It's because you went from A to B to C to D to E. And so it's like, it's one baby compromise after another. And because you said, oh, this isn't a big deal. Oh, this isn't a big deal. And then you found yourself at the big deal because you did all the things that weren't big deals in your mind. And some of them were, like what we talked about at the beginning, they're not sinful. They're just unwise. Putting yourself in positions and places and doing things that being around certain crowds or whatever that aren't bad, but they set you up. And then you started the little compromises and then you find yourself at the big one. And so I really do think it's baby steps.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I just kind of had this thought. This is totally off the cuff. Baby steps in both things that you do, but also things that you observe or things that you like intake. Can those move the needle more towards sin or away from sin?
Oh, certainly. I mean, the thing that makes me think of is media over the past 30 years, right? You go back and watch movies 30 years ago and, like having people kiss on screen was a little scandalous, at whatever point.
Yeah.
And now we're at the place where
there's no scandal.
There's just nudity. It's not a big deal, right? Nudity and everything. And it's like, well, that was unthinkable even 10 years ago. How do we get to this place? We'll just, one push the needle and we're like, oh, we got up in arms about it. But then we kind of dropped it. And then there's another one. And so, I just think, what was your question? I forgot.
Like does do the things we intake?
Oh yeah. So
move us kind of down that line towards like the destruction of sin.
So it's like the getting callous to something where you were once like, you saw something and you're like, oh my gosh, it really affected you. Maybe it was too violent or the language or the sexual content, whatever. It's like, oh my gosh. Right. And then just as media gets more and more and more, whatever that word is, open to those things, not like doesn't care about those things, you become less and less sensitive to them.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden you're like, well, yeah, that's not a big deal.
So I watched this happen once in like a microcosm. It's like we were running an experiment on someone. And I literally watched it happen in real time. I was with a group of friends from college and we went and saw the musical Waitress, which is based on a movie called Waitress that maybe you've seen. And you being the listener, I know you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
But you know who is the waitress in Waitress? The diplomat, Carrie Russell.
Oh, nice.
But in Waitress, the central conflict is she's in this terrible marriage. She gets pregnant and then she like falls in love with her male like OB. And he's like this great dude and they like fall in love. And her husband is such a deadbeat. And I remember we left the musical and we were all talking about it. And this one guy in our group was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like kind of hard for me to root for like people to be unfaithful in their marriage. Like it's hard for me. It's like, and he's like, look, I know the guy was like a deadbeat. I know he was terrible. And I know it's like, but it's like, just maybe wait just a little, like get a divorce and just like wait. And then he's like, I don't know. I just found it hard. And I mean, we were like, come on, dude. They were so in love. And they were so like, they sang these great songs. And I watched this dude slowly, like the cogs, and we like convinced him to like, be like, oh yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. And so it's like, even like watching something, you could have like a good faith. Like, I think he was right. You know, it's like, I think that stuff is formative, but even like the cultural pressure around him made him like, be like, oh, maybe it wasn't that big a deal. And then you just see like just a little, the needle move just a little bit. Yeah. Right. Being like, oh, you know, even you can root for someone in a story to be unfaithful. It's like, you're just a few steps away from being like, oh, I can root for my friend to be unfaithful. Oh, yeah. And then eventually, I mean, myself.
I've literally heard Christians who are in the midst of being unfaithful say, well, why would God give me this love if he didn't want me to have it? Why would God let me feel like this for this other person that's not my spouse if he didn't want me to have that? It's like the cognitive dissonance. Yeah. And even thinking that way is, well, you've had a lot of things lead your thinking to get to this crazy place.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just that we see that spiral, right? That, you know, we move towards. And then I think this is super important too. If you talked about how David's so scared it's going to come out and it's going to ruin everything. Yeah. That also pushes him in sort of these really dramatic ways. How do you see that? Or do you see that, you know, in people you're counseling or in it's like the fear of getting caught being the motivation for even more sin?
There's a great proverb from the book of Proverbs. And the reason I know this proverb is
I thought you were going to be like from ancient China. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, but I did learn it from the movie True Grit.
Oh,
the new one.
Yeah.
And it says,
"You're not LaBeef." Remember that part?
Yeah.
They like roll up. That guy's all just dressed like a bear.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that movie. Josh Allen's wife is in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, she's the main girl.
Oh. But the quote is, or the proverb is, the wicked flee when they're not pursued. And so it's like when you know you're guilty, you think everyone can see it. And you're just like everyone sees me, everyone knows. And I can't think, there's got to be some movies or some shows that like, you know, everyone's out to get you, like everyone knows, right? And you're trying to hide it, try to cover it up. And you end up getting caught because you're trying so hard to cover it all up. Yeah. Like when no one is actually thinking about it.
If you had just relaxed, like you would have been fine.
But it's like, because you can't. Because your conscience is so just after you. You just like, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get caught. And so, yeah, I do think that's what kind of David is feeling. And so he's trying to cover it up. And I think we do that. Like, I think we're terrified to get caught. And so we hide and hide and hide instead of, you know, I think the Christian response is like, hey, we're actually all in the same boat. We are, you know, one of the things I like to say to people is we are all sexually broken, just in different ways. You know, sometimes we look at, you know, someone maybe who's homosexual or whatever and go, oh, they're sexually broken. It's like, well, they are. But so are you. Straight person. You're sexually broken. It just looks different. And so we're all kind of in the same boat. And when you come and confess and bring your issue, it shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that.
Get a load of this
It's
guy.
like the only reason I haven't done what you did is by the grace of God. And so it's not because I'm stronger than you.
Oh, it's like the situation we heard about where there was a guy who was like on the, like being voted on to be a deacon who had like confessed to being same-sex attracted like 25 years ago or something. And the other deacons were like, I don't know that we should let him on. Yeah. It's like, why? I was like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah. It's just like, there's just this like it on the gradient of sins, that one was like too far gone for them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So,
okay. Well, let's get to the good news.
Okay.
Very quickly, Act 3. I actually don't remember what you put it and said in your sermon. I just called it the healing.
I don't think I said it.
I just said Act 3, the heal. So it was the temptation, the sin, and the healing.
Yeah.
So you got Nathan, not the worship pastor, the prophet, coming in, tells the story about
the sheep.
Mary had a little lamb, and it gets taken. And
you are the man.
You are. He's like, hey, dude, you're the man.
How you say that changes everything.
Talk about that. You talk about healing can only come through the gospel. Yeah. How do we see that evidenced in this conversation, this confrontation with Nathan?
So really these two cogs, right? You have healing comes through the gospel, but the fruit of that has to be repentance. Mm-hmm. And so you really see it in Psalm 51 when David has written this song in this moment, about this moment. He's pleading for the mercy of God. Restore in me a clean heart. I've sinned against you and you alone have I sinned, right? He's recognizing like, God, I've broken your law. Like he is broken. There's a line in there. It's like, heal the bones that you have broken, right? So it's like, I feel this to my core. And so he's asking to be restored, but also like he changes, like, and he doesn't abuse his power like this again. And he's learned from it and he's grown. And so it's like healing comes through confession, asking for forgiveness, and repenting. Mm-hmm. Right? If you can just confess and even ask for forgiveness, but you don't change, we're just going to stay in the cycle. Mm-hmm. Like the sin, it's not just that the sin is going to send you to hell. Like that's true. Mm-hmm. But it's just, the sin is also destructive right here and now.
Yeah.
And so if you just confess and ask for forgiveness without changing, well, you'll get the forgiveness if it's genuine and all that. Mm-hmm. But the destruction of the sin, it's still going to be there.
Yeah.
And so if you want actual healing, you've got to turn from it, put it to death. And so I think you got to do that. Well, as I was reading it, and I'm reading the part, it's like you kind of fast forward a little bit and the baby is born and God's like, the baby's going to die. And David is fasting and praying for God to spare it and all this. And then these two guys are kind of like tiptoeing around David this whole time. And they're kind of whispering in the corner. And he's like, figures it out. He's like, the baby died. And they're like, yeah, it did. And he gets up and he like rolls his mat up or whatever and goes about life. And they're like, what? You've been grieving and pleading and fasting. Why are you not now? He's like, well, I was doing that because I was hoping God would have mercy, but he's not. He's disciplined me this way. That's done with. And I just read this line and I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, my son is dead. There's nothing I can do. Mm-hmm. I'll go to him. He can't come to me. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. Jesus does the opposite of this.
Yeah.
Right. Jesus is the son who dies because of our sin, like David's son. But unlike David, he's able to be raised from the dead and come back. And so I'd never noticed that before. And I was
I had to, you said that. I was like, whoa.
And so just the idea that because Jesus has conquered death, sin leads to death and destruction, and Jesus has conquered it and reversed it and healed it. So confession, repentance, forgiveness, trust in Jesus.
One of my favorite verses, 1 John 1, if we confess our sin, right, he is faithful. Oh, now I'm forgetting it.
Faithful and just to forgive our sins.
And we have, that's the wrong verse.
You're thinking about walking in the light.
I jumped to the end of the verse. Yeah. When we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. Right. And he's faithful to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Yeah. Our confession of sin, walking in the light, is both healing horizontally between ourselves and also healing vertically our relationship with God, right? And you mentioned this earlier. It's something I've been saying to the students recently. Just like when you come in the doors at youth group, when you come in the doors at Sunday, you're agreeing to one thing, and it's, I need some help.
Yeah.
Like I'm messed up. I need some help. Even people who aren't believers, right? Like just by coming to church, by walking in, they're admitting like, I
think I might need some help.
I need some help.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's actually not shocking to anybody at church when you come up to them and you say, I'm struggling with a sin. I need some help. They're going to say, me too. And like, it's not going to be shocking. It's not going to be scary because we're all here for healing from sin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final words?
You had one question, right?
We did have one question. And I just memorized it because I thought it was a great question. I wish everyone would read the Bible like whoever submitted this question, because this is what they asked. I'm going to pull it up, actually. I want to make sure I get it exactly right. They say, what does it tell us about God that he uses this lowest moment in David's life to continue the lineage that will lead to Jesus? Yeah. So I think it's a great question, because anytime you read a story and you say, what does this teach me about God's character? That's a great way. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. And I think it teaches that God redeems the broken.
Yeah.
God, the songs we sing nowadays, like this phrase, God makes beauty from ashes. And so he takes the weak and lowly things of the world to shame the wise.
Yeah.
And so he's all about saving the world through a baby, through a cross, through weak and foolish things. And so he takes, Jesus' whole genealogy is full of some wicked, messed up people and broken things. And so, and I think his whole point is, I'm using brokenness to come and save broken people.
Yeah. And I think we can take comfort in that, and to say, and can I trust? Will I trust him to do it for me, even in my lowest moments?
Yeah.
Will he use this for the good of his will, the good of his kingdom? And the good news is, he will. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for the recap. We hope this conversation has encouraged you to keep striving to make Jesus essential in every aspect of your life. If you aren't part of our church family, we'd love to meet you. We gather for worship at 10:30 a.m. For more information, you can always go to myfellowship.church. Thanks for listening. Be blessed.